Well, good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and I am going to do your July the 6th, just for today, in a meditation. I hope that you're doing well this morning. Let's go ahead and get into that meditation. I'm very excited to spend time with you. How is everyone out there in all the different corners of the world out there that are listening to the podcast? I hope you're doing good. That's my heart's desire, that you're doing good, living purposefully, loving fully. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm smiling ear to ear already. That just makes me feel good. The title of this meditation is I'm Sorry. The main thing the eighth step does for us is to help build awareness that little by little, we are gaining new attitudes about ourselves and how we deal with other people. That comes from the basic text, page 39. To say I'm sorry probably isn't such a foreign ideal to most of us. In our active addiction, it may have been a very familiar phrase. We were always telling people how sorry we were, and we're probably deeply surprised when someone, tired of our meaningless apologies, responded with, "You sure are. In fact, you're the sorriest excuse for dot, dot, dot." That may have been our first clue that in I'm sorry didn't really make any difference to those we harmed, especially when we both knew that we just do the same thing again. Many of us thought that making amends would be another I'm sorry. However, the action we take in those steps is entirely different. Making amends means to make changes and, above all, to make the situation right. If we stole money, we don't just say, "I'm sorry. I'll never do it again now that I'm clean." We pay the money back. If we neglected or abused our families, we don't just apologize. We begin to treat them with respect. Amending our behavior in the way we treat ourselves and others is the whole purpose of working the steps. We're no longer just sorry, we're responsible. Just for today, I accept responsibility for myself and my recovery. Today, I will amend some particular thing I'm sorry for. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the reversion of the serenity prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. What a powerful reminder that we're receiving in this July 6th meditation to really pull us deeper into the purpose of why we're doing the eighth step and why we do the ninth step. When we're making that list in the eighth step of people that we've harmed, right? And we become entirely ready to make these amends to them, right? We're making this list. That alone is a huge thing to do because we're saying, you know what? I'm going to write myself a list that I can't erase, that I will always have if I take care of it, to remind me of the harm that I've caused to other people, and that I need to seek them out intentionally, unless it's going to make matters worse. I need to seek them out intentionally at some point in time in life and let them know, not only am I sorry, but here's the money, right, that I took from you. Now that's the ninth step. But by making this list in the eighth step, we are admitting to ourselves and to God. And if we go over it with our sponsor to another human being, just like in the fifth step, we are admitting, hey, these are the individuals that I've caused harm to. This is what I did. And this is what I think I need to do to make the amends. It's never about just saying, I'm sorry. Now, let me tell you something because I think it's very important for me to share this with you. To some people that we have harmed, saying I'm sorry is enough. There's so many people that we just walked right over and we never doubled back to say, you know what? I know I stepped on your toe and it hurt. I want to say I'm sorry for that. For some people, and you probably have said it too, do you know so and so did such and such? They did not even say sorry. I can't believe they didn't even say sorry. That's all I needed to hear was, and I'm sorry. Because most people equate change behind that I'm sorry. So when they hear you say that, most of them are expecting that also means you change the behavior. But there are those, especially those close to us, that we've lived with, that we've used with, that your I'm sorry doesn't mean anything to them. Those are just words coming out of your mouth. They know for a fact that just because you have a moment of clarity right now doesn't mean that you're going to have a moment of clarity when you get high again, right? And you do what you did before and hurt them some more. See, they're used to that pattern. So they know who you are. They know that you can say, I'm sorry in one moment of clarity and do the exact same thing tomorrow. So when you say, I'm sorry, it means nothing. Those are words made out of water. They just hit the ground and dissipate. They mean nothing to them. So how do you move it into meaning something to them? Now, you can't control how they feel, what they say behind your amends, but you can put forth the effort to actually change the exact nature of the wrong, the character defect that produced the shortcoming. You can do everything in your power to be able to change that. And part of that is inviting your God to help you do that, right? We became entirely ready to have these character defects removed from us. We humbly ask God in step 7 to remove these shortcomings, our shortcomings. Yeah. So it's not about you necessarily doing it, removing it, but it is about you being humble enough to ask for help and then put in the work behind it. When you notice that character defect starting to take root, to act out, you say, oh no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that this time. And you will find the more that you train your brain to say no to that behavior. I'm sorry, it could be watching pornography. It could be watching I don't know. It could be something as simple as you have a lust issue and you're watching pornography and you know that is not good for you. You're married or you're in a relationship or just you're not even dedicated to anyone. This is just something that feeds your lust, your sexual desires. And you make the decision. I'm not doing that. Tonight, when everyone goes to sleep, I'm not watching pornography tonight. And as you train your brain to start saying no to the shortcoming, the behavior, because lust is the character defect, right? So as you start training yourself to say no to it, it becomes more second nature. That is your part in making the amends. Does that make sense? If you're married to someone, your husband, your wife caught you looking at pornography and they want to have a divorce or something because of your behavior, that's something that when you go to make an amends to them, that really does mean that you're not doing that anymore. But how do you get yourself to be to that stage where it's second nature for you to not do that anymore? By the time you get to that ninth step and actually do it, you have already done 6 and 7. 8 is the natural thing to do after you've done a step 6 and 7. You should know at that point, with the help of your sponsor, what the real amends looks like. And more than likely, if it involved hurting someone you love and were in a relationship with due to your lust, your pornography watching, yeah, maybe you've cheated on your mate. When you go to make that amends, if they're still bothered with you, right? If they're still in a relationship even with you, when you go to make that amends, the main thing on the table is, are you doing the same thing that you used to do? Or have you changed? Has that been removed from you? Otherwise, those are words that are like water drops that hit the pavement and dissipate. It means nothing. As soon as it hits the table and you say it, it just dissipates in their mind. It's like, okay, whatever. I know you well enough to know that you are still doing this behavior. So when you're really ready to change, come back to me. And a lot of times the people that reject our amends, our ninth step, they just don't have the faith to believe that we've really amended our behavior. That comes first. But hopefully that's not the case for you. I hope that's not the case for you. I just want to encourage you because I know that this is a very serious topic, and sometimes the rejection of our amends can cause people to go back and use because they have put so much weight on I hate to even put it like this, but they put so much weight on the influence and thoughts of other people. And so a lot of times, even though they're in recovery, they're not really recovering as a inside job for themselves to get better. They're trying to recover relationships. And so by the time a person gets to the ninth step, if that's them, when those people that they have hung so much weight on their approval refuse to accept the amends, they're devastated to the point where it sends them back out. Do not, do not let that be you. And if it's been you, come on back while you can, if you can, and begin to clean up again. It's very important. MightyStream cannot overemphasize how important it is not to hang everything on the acceptance of others, right? Not everyone is going to accept you, clean or dirty. And unfortunately, people like us, we're very sensitive. Our feelings are on our sleeves, right? We take it seriously. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm not the same person anymore. You still don't want to be bothered with me. Like that hurts. It really hurts. But dear, please, please do not pick up behind me, because the only thing that is going to do is catapult you going backwards into that lifestyle that you so desperately tried to break free from, and you so desperately did all that work up until that point of that relapse. It takes you backwards several steps. And now we're dealing with pride that is magnified as a result of the drug being in your system because now you relapsed, or self loathing. All of those negatives, character defects seem to come back to life. And in a sense, they say, ha, caught you, got you. We're back. We're back. And it's very hard. It's very hard. I've heard because I'm not relapsed that way. It's very difficult based on the members that have that I know to find the courage, the self forgiveness, the humility to come back into the rooms of recovery and start afresh because you feel like, huh, I put in a lot of work and now I have nothing. That's not really true at all when you have your life. And that's very important. So today, take responsibility for yourself in your recovery. Make the amends for something that you are sorry for and realize that that amends may vary depending on the thing that you did that was wrong. And thinking about a seamstress, someone that sews, if they're a seamstress and they are making amends to people's torn clothing, that seamstress knows she cannot use a heavy needle to fix something like chiffon, a very lightweight see-through material. She can't use the same needle she would use on leather or even denim on chiffon. He or she, because I know some men that are also seamstress, right? So the seamstress knows based on the weight, and if they don't know, there's ways for them to find out. Written literature on how to figure out the weight. On the package of the needles, it may even tell you this size needle is good for this. And they know the right pressure of the machine to have it on. So what's my point? My point is, depending on the injury, depending on what you've done and what you're trying to amend, it may require different things. And that's for you and your sponsor to talk about, okay? So my name is MightyStream. I've enjoyed talking to you today. I hope that you will have a beautiful day on purpose. I most absolutely positively intend to. We're going to have a very beautiful day. You do the same. Talk to you tomorrow.